Five, four, three, two, one.
Ready.
Just relax and enjoy the ride.
In crowd, 815, in crowd, 815, in crowd, 815, in crowd, 815.
Somewhere out there, Tom, somewhere out there is the Easter egg that has gone the longest without being found.
Yeah. Talk about your rotten eggs.
He's Tom. This is your In Crowd 815 podcast for the 26th day of April, the year 2025, the latest it has ever been, my friend.
In the history of mankind. Okay, so on those lines, the Easter eggs. Every time we do an Easter egg hunt for the kids, grandkids, whatever, we will find one 6 months later, 8 months later. No, they're not hard-boiled eggs, but they're chocolate eggs. And you know what? The chocolate's still doggone good. So that's all right. But
That
the
should tell you
funniest
something,
thing,
Tom. That should tell you something.
yeah, it should. The funniest thing though is I got one. I still have one left, and I'm going to use it at some point. I was going to save it for. I was actually going to do it when the Packers won, like when they beat Detroit or something. I had it in hand. I was ready to go, and it's one of these things where you flip it and it goes boom, and it just spews out all of this. It's a New Year's Eve kind of a firecracker type thing. It's loud, and it spews out all this paper, the confetti. You know, like the paper that comes down at the Super Bowl, orange and green and yellow and purple and blue, or whatever the team colors are. It's going to be green and yellow this year, but you know, there you go.
The confidence. The confidence of your.
I can't figure out this mirror thing. Oh, there we are.
You're good.
No, the mirror's fine. I'm not. I'm off. I'm like trying to grab this side. Wait, the G is on this side over here. Oh, whatever.
That's what kind of throws you off. Well, hey, we've got a great show for you and the person still sleeping next to you. So if they're, they want to listen, give them a little nudge. Say, hey, wake up. Tom and Greg are talking. We've got a couple of great guests on, including the director of Safe Families for Children of Rockford and the superintendent of the Veterans Assistance Commission of Winnebago County. We're going to learn all about these organizations. But first, let's take care of some business. And that is our big number of the week. Our current race to 10 has Tom way out in front, 5-2. Will I ever catch up? I have no clue. Our big number of the week this week is 21.6 billion, Tom. Billion with a B. And the answer this week is chains or cruises. Chains or cruises. Go ahead and put your guess in the comments and let us know. I challenge you. Google search, use your favorite AI tool, whatever you got, throw it out there and see if you can find the answer. I'm pretty sure this was a story from 2 weeks ago. I don't think it was during this last week. I think it was from 2 weeks ago. But anyway, it's a big number, 21.6 billion. And the answer has something to do with chains or something to do with cruises. And we'll give you the answer at the end of the program today.
Is it chains, like a chain, like you pull a car, or change, like change in your pocket?
CHAINS. Chains.
Chains. Okay.
Chains. Yes.
All right.
That's all the hint you're getting, Tom. That's all the hint you're getting.
That's okay. Chains or cruises.
All right, that takes care of our business. We'll have some shout outs later on, but our first guest today is her name is Bree. She's part of something called Safe Families for Children in Rockford. And I got a feeling there's a lot of folks who have never, ever heard of this before. And we are just thrilled to be able to tell you all about it this week on the podcast. Bree, welcome to the show.
Hi, good morning. Good morning.
How you doing today? You look good. Look at you in the
I'm
camera.
yes. I'm good actually. Really happy to be here. This is the earliest I've woken up in a few weeks, and so I am ready though. Ready. I'm a morning person, so I'm happy to get back on routine. So this is
Okay.
good.
Okay. Once upon a time, I was a morning person. I hosted a morning show for 6 years, and I found myself to be a lot more creative in the morning. I felt the
Oh,
creative
cool.
juices flowed more freely for me in the early morning hours than the rest of the day for some reason.
Yeah.
Uh, but I'm not a morning person anymore. Well, I kind of am, but not the same way that I used to be.
Used to be. Yeah, I feel like the older I get, that's the same for me too. Like I have always been a morning person, but then just as I get older, it's like, I don't really need to do that. I'll be okay in bed.
No, no.
I'm at the situation where I do trivia most nights, 3 or 4 nights a week. A lot of the stuff I do is nights. So for me being a morning person, I don't have to get up at 5:30 or 6. I don't
Oh,
have to
yes.
rush out and go to work anymore, so I don't. So there are mornings when I'll lay in bed till 7:30, 8 o'clock, but then there are mornings when I'm up at 5:30, like
Yes.
yesterday. So
I'm doing work in the morning, but usually it's social media work.
Oh,
I do a lot of my social media posts and creations and birthday wishes and happy home anniversary wishes and stuff like that. Being a realtor, I always like to go back and see, hey, who closed on their house on this day, in the last few years. Oh, look at that.
mhm.
Happy anniversary. So that's usually what my mornings are like. But all right, so let's learn about Bree a little bit. We'd like to know where you grew up and went to school and a little career arc of what landed you at Safe Families for Children.
yeah, absolutely. So, I am born and raised in the Rockford area.
Okay.
Technically grew up in the parks, so like Machesney Park, Loves Park, Roscoe for most of my
Are you a
childhood.
Harlem Husky?
I am a Harlem Husky,
All
yes,
right.
2010.
Yeah.
And then I stayed close to home after that, went to Northern, so NIU. After that, got my degree in sociology with a minor in child studies and psychology. And then moved on from there. While I was in college, I was working at a low economic status daycare in Sycamore and worked there for, oh my goodness, probably a good 5 years or so. Had my first baby while I was working there and sort of worked my way through, did lots of different jobs there. And then moved to my like next step after I got my degree and started working for a private agency with DCFS and was an intact family services case manager there for about 3 years. And then realized that I've always sort of wanted to make a change in the world and have just a real passion for people and caring for them and just really hoping that they could have the best lives possible. And so while I was in that position, I realized that it wasn't as preventative as I felt like it could be. And I felt like like our system, our child welfare system was just there was a gap. And seeing families come to me while at that intact agency, they were past their like breaking point basically. And while intact family services is voluntary, it didn't really feel that way at that point because they already had DCFS involvement. They already had all of they had already had two, I would say, too heavy hitting of a system sort of in their pockets. And then they couldn't really do much with that to escape. And so it was really hard to get people to be excited about changing for the better of their family and just like really having that passion and personal desire to make a change rather than a program telling them they had to. And so from there, I realized like, how can I bridge this gap and how can little old me be this person to create this change, especially in our community that I'm also super passionate about. And so Q Safe Families, have a former, I like to call her a mentor of mine. My previous supervisor had asked me to come to Safe Families with her. And what a life-changing experience to be able to move to the preventative side of child welfare and really step in with a family when they might just be having like what's a Tuesday to them where maybe they don't have a ride to work or their kiddo got sick and they don't have a family to care for them, or to take them to the doctor, something as simple as that, and really bring family and support all around that family before DCFS even gets involved so that they might have a fighting chance. Because once you lose your kiddos to the system, it's immensely hard to get them back. Even if you are an exceptional parent, it's still
Oh yeah.
immensely hard. And so you could be Oh goodness.
Hello.
Yes.
Morning.
So yeah, it was really eye-opening for me to be able to move into a position that was much more preventative and really helping families sort of have a fighting chance before they didn't anymore. And so
Yeah,
I've been with Safe Families for going on 6 years. And this is my longest standing job, and I absolutely love it. I don't plan on going anywhere, which is
yeah,
also really awesome for myself and my family. But
yeah.
we've created a really awesome team in Rockford. And so um, being able to just spend the days with them and help families in our community and join churches and other nonprofits together to help serve those families is something really that's really beautiful that we
That
love.
is, and I am totally empathize with what you're saying. I don't know how much of my story you know, but when I moved to Rockford, I was a single dad with custody of 3 kids under the age of 5.
Oh my goodness, Greg, I
And
didn't know that.
yeah, so I moved to Rockford with no family here at all.
Oh
I
gosh.
I had a job, but I was, plugging into a new church for the first time and trying to find people to help me just live, working 6 nights a week.
Yes.
I needed caregivers for my kids. And if it hadn't been for my church and a few families stepping forward, I would have been one of those statistics, one of those needing
Yes.
help from an organization that like yours that I don't know if it even existed back in the early 90s, So yeah, so I hear you that there's that breaking point. When you have a family that's right there on the edge where
Mm-hmm.
they can find themselves into a nice stable place, or they could fall off a cliff and who knows what happens next. Uh,
100%.
you I'm sure you see a lot of stuff that is very encouraging at times and also just very disheartening at times. Uh, where do you find your strength to kind of say, hey, I know this is a bad day, but there's a better day coming? Where do you find that strength to go forward and to keep helping these families for 6 years now?
Yes, yeah. I would definitely say strength comes from my church home and then also just my family. My family is super supportive in what I do, and I have an amazing team that I work with. Ben and Sam are just phenomenal. And it takes a village to help be a village. And so if my team didn't have that same village in their families and didn't have that same church support and church network that they have, we wouldn't be where we are today. And so I'm
Oh,
just really thankful for having that village and being able to then use that as an example to all the families that we serve to be like, hey, we've all been in sticky spots before. We've all been in some pretty cruddy situations, and it gets better. There
Yeah.
is hope, there is a light, and just being able to have that camaraderie with your team that you're working with daily and being able to take it back to your church and being able to take it to all of our church partners within Safe Families, and just knowing you have that network of people praying for you and praying for your mission is
yeah.
like that's amazing to me. And
Yeah.
you have all these people who are like vying for you and rooting for you that you probably don't even know exist either. And we're just kind of always waiting for those people to come out of the woodwork and be like, hey, we want to support Safe Families, we want to volunteer with you, and like get them moving into the next step, because they can be fans of us and advocates for like our staff who are helping move that work along. But the real fun starts when they like also immerse themselves into the work and then pour into their networks from there.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. I want to bring up your Facebook page so people can see it
Yeah,
and share
thanks.
this share this on the screen here. I'll also put the link in the chat so everybody can find this really easily. Um, Facebook.com/SF Rockford. There we go. So yeah, this organization, is this a nationwide organization or is this a regional thing?
No, yeah, we are actually nationwide. We actually also have a few chapters overseas in China, and then oh my goodness, it's lapsing me. Um, Yes, I can't remember where, but definitely there is one in China, and then we
Okay.
also have a multitude of chapters across the states, and our actual headquarters is out of Chicago, and so we have a nice little connection to um, our home base that started in 2009, and we get to go up there fairly frequently and have a pretty good relationship with them, and just being able to connect with the other chapters in the area too. There's, I think, 6 chapters in Illinois, and then across the nation. I don't even know the number that we're at anymore. I'm pretty sure it's over 50. So that's super awesome. And um,
You have a location here in Rockford, an office that people can visit?
We do, yes. We are actually located in the basement of Bethesda Covenant Church on
Oh,
State Street. So, that really beautiful castle church that's been there for ages. We are on the backside of that church and we have a little doorbell and we love visitors. We are very interruptible. And that's one of our favorite things to have. We have some good partnerships with some of the community groups in the area, and they like to pop in and drop off little goodies for the kiddos that we serve and things like that. And then we have coffee together and chat, and we're all about relationships because that's the only way that you can really survive in life, is that village and those relationships and those connections. And so we always welcome interruptions. It's our favorite thing.
sure.
Hmm.
Is there something you can kind of pinpoint and say this is the number one most requested or needed thing that the families that we interact with come to us for? And I'm sure there's a multitude of things that you guys have helped families with over the years, but has there been kind of uh, uh, a main service that you guys have found that has been, probably, I don't know, more often than not, the person walking through your door is requesting help for this certain thing?
Yeah, absolutely. So it definitely has changed over the years, but I would say this year, our most common circumstance, it's pretty even between two things. It would be single moms having another child and they have other children in the home with nobody to care for them, and they are about to be hospitalized to go through the
Mm,
birth of their next child. And um, they need somebody to care for their kiddos for the 3 days that they're hospitalized. And that one, I would say we get at least I would say at least 3 calls a month, if not more, for that specific circumstance. And then the next most common from there is our medical situation. So, more hospitalizations for families who are facing some severe medical circumstances like cancer treatments, dialysis treatments, things like that. And they're needing somebody to care for their children while they're in their
mm,
appointments, regularly scheduled appointments. And so, we typically pair those families in both circumstances with a network of volunteers that we recruit from local churches and local nonprofits in the area, and really help them form that connection. And they do a couple overnights. And if their families get along well, the best case scenario is that they're hanging out and having dinners in a few months, and they have that person to call instead of having to call strangers like stay families. So
wow,
it's awesome.
wow. That's that I can only imagine what people go through, because like I said, when I moved to Rockford, if it wasn't for like 3 families basically adopting me and saying, okay, I had one family literally that took care of my kids every Monday and Tuesday night so I could work. I had another family that took care of my kids Wednesday nights and took them to church activities Wednesday nights so that I could work. And then I had another that basically helped me with my little black book full of caregivers so I could book babysitters Thursday, Friday, Saturday night so I could work. I lived that way for like over a year. It was nuts. I still don't know how I survived that whole year. An organization like yours might be that resource to help somebody who's going through maybe something similar to that.
Yeah, Greg, that's like exactly what we do.
Yeah.
It's crazy too that was in the 90s, because unfortunately Safe Families wasn't around in the 90s, but I feel like the 90s is what prompted our CEO to be like, "Hey, something's going on here." He was a psychologist growing up through his early career, and was like, "There is a gap here. We need to fix this." And so
Yeah.
cue early 2000s, and Safe Families was created. And that's exactly what we do though. And we go into churches and allow churches to become the hands and feet like they want to be. And we offer them the opportunities to really serve the families that maybe they don't always have the access to. And so we just love being that extra connection to let the church be the church. And I'm so thankful that you were able to have those people, because you're right, it's pivotal. And we don't know where families who are suffering would be without that extra connection and
No,
help.
no, I'm not afraid to say, without the Andersons and the Mossbrooks in my life during that year and a half of my life that was just upside down, I probably would have had to move back to Wisconsin and move back in with my father with 3 kids under the age of 5, and that might have not ended well. So
Yes,
as
absolutely.
good a guy as my dad is, I don't know that we wanted to have that situation in our
Have
lives.
that, yes, have that happen, yes.
Exactly. Well, I'm over here on your Linktree page, and before we kind of move into a transition here with our next guests and stuff,
Yeah.
uh, is there something that people can plug into to volunteer, or do you have a fundraising event or something like that? What can we help you promote today as your appearance here on the podcast?
Yeah, absolutely. So that link tree is like the network of our whole operation.
Mhm.
The brainchild behind that is my community engagement specialist, and he created this for us. And so, if you would like to volunteer, there's a link for that on rockfordsafefamilies.org.
There it is.
And if
There
you
it is.
would like to donate, there's a link for that on rockfordsafefamilies.org. If you want to know what events we have coming up, if you want to join our mailing list, if you want to know some of our history, if you want to follow our social medias, rockfordsafefamilies.org. It's a one-stop shop to get all the information that you need. We do actually have a community event coming up on Father's Day, so June 15th.
Okay.
We are going to be at the Rockford Rivets game, and we are looking to just build community at that event. We plan on inviting some of our placing parents, some of our existing host families, and also doing some recruitment work at that event. We want to just offer you a free Rivets ticket so that we can pour into you and network with you, and then hopefully get you to come alongside to join our mission to volunteer with Safe Families. We have lots of different levels of volunteering with Safe Families, from offering resources to offering rides to opening your entire home to a family who might be in need, with the support and help of our staff. And so that is again on Father's Day, June 15th. If you stay on our rockfordsafefamilies.org, we'll be posting updates there so you can register for your free tickets. We would love to just share community with you. And yes, our current needs that are posted right now too. We have some tangible items that are needed, and we have some hosting items that are needed, with some families that might need some extra support and care.
I mean, talk about practical, Tom. Look at this. Mom, 5-year-old girl, need of hosting for 2 months, needs help. Mom with an 8-month-old baby boy needs hosting for the next 2 months. The specific need is right there. A safe car, get around Rockford, a couch, a dining table and chairs. It's all
Well, that's the beauty of Rockford. Rockford always steps up when it comes to these kinds of things. It's for such a good cause. Everybody talks about, oh, the children, the family, this and that. Okay, now let's put your money where your mouth is.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Yes.
Let's do it.
That, exactly that. Like
very nice.
yes,
Mhm.
we love when people are like, "Oh my goodness, here's a table." We're like, "Yes, thank you so much. It's the next step for this family." And then you have that like rare gem of a family who are like, "We have an entire bedroom we're not using." We're like, "Yes, you and I, coffee, let's do it."
Nice. Good deal. Well, we've got the link to your Facebook page here in the chat, and you can go directly there. It's got all the links to everything else too. So if you're looking for a volunteer opportunity, if you have something that you can donate, want to plug into, we love our partners out there at the Rivets. They do a great job out there and connecting with our not-for-profits here locally too. So
Yes, they're
go out to the
amazing.
Rivets game, and support them that way too. So and before we bring on our next guest and do a little trivia, anything that we did not ask you about, Bree, that you wanted to make sure we mentioned today before we transition to our next guest?
The only other thing that I think I want to mention is we just had our first annual 5K, which was an immense success. We were only expecting 75 people, and we ended up with like 172 people.
There's a lot of
And
runners in this community.
yes, it
I'm
was
not
such
one
a
of them, but
beautiful
kudos to
thing.
the runners.
Yes, and it was like in early March, and it was windy and cold, and we
Uh,
just had the time of our lives. And so, if running is your thing, or you are a business that would like to sponsor that opportunity, we are looking at early spring again next year. Maybe very late March, early April. And so, if that is something that you're interested in, lots of volunteer opportunities, lots of fundraising opportunities, and all of that money goes directly back to the children in our communities so that they can have the best chance at life as possible. So,
that's cool.
be
This
on the
is the one you
lookout
did
for
at
that.
Harlem High School, correct? Right?
Yes, at Harlem, they were an amazing sponsor. We used the Willow Creek Path, which was beautiful, and we got so many compliments on that. And it was just really awesome. It was a great day. Lots of
You
family
know,
fun opportunities, and things like that too.
Nice
So
facility. For years, they've hosted the Special Olympics out there. They've done a lot of great things
yes,
at Harlem High School. So we really
yes.
appreciate all the stuff that they've done for the community out there. So awesome, good deal. Well, let's see if our other guest is ready to come on and try a little bit of something we like to call Tom's Trivia Challenge. All right, let's see here. We'll put our guests over here on the right side or the left side of your screen, depending on how you're looking at it. I don't know. Good morning, Jesus. How are you, sir?
Oh, good morning, Greg and Tom. How you doing? Hi, Bree. How are you?
Hi, good morning. Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Up nice and early like everyone else.
Yeah. Why do we do this on Saturday mornings? Because that's what we do. That's right. Heading into the weekend feeling good about ourselves. We've done something great already.
Because we all have jobs during the week, I guess. I always like to start trivia with this. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
All right.
You guys ready?
Let's go.
Let's go. Let's
Ready
go
to
some
rumble?
points.
All right. Your first category is going to be spelling,
Oh,
but
no.
it's not hard. It shouldn't be.
Goodbye,
that
Tom. I'll take you up.
Followed by golf. Followed by golf. Okay, that's the first page. All right, here we go. In the word miscellaneous,
Big word.
how many I's are there?
Miscellaneous.
Yep. In the word miscellaneous, how many I's are there?
I think 3 sounds like a good guess. Am I?
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to give you 2 options.
Oh, geez. Why didn't you tell me that at the beginning?
Well, that's okay. That's okay because I didn't give you the options. That's a mulligan. It's all good. Here you go. Your options are 1 or 2. So how many I's are there in the word miscellaneous? Your options are 1 or 2.
I'm going to have to go with 2.
Let's go with 2. Let's hope for 2.
Yes, my initial answer was also 2. So
Come on,
I'm sticking
2.
with my gut.
All right. Here's how you spell it. MISC. So there's one already. ELLAENEOU.
There's only one.
Guess who uses spell checker most of the
There's
time?
only one.
Yes.
As some gal handed in her sheet, she goes, "Of course, there's only one. MISC."
That's right. That's right.
Yes.
Hey, yeah, you could have stopped right there. But anyway, all right. I don't know if you're a fan of golf, but there's 3 of you here, and I know one of you is probably going to get this. That would be Greg, unless I don't know if either of you are golf fans. But anyway, the Masters tournament just concluded not last week and the weekend before that. Who won this year's 2025 Masters?
Rory.
Was it? Okay, never mind. You don't need options.
He knows. How do you?
Go ahead.
Oh, I forget his last name, but it's
McIlroy.
Rory.
Rory McIlroy.
Yeah,
McIlroy. There you go.
McIlroy. McIlroy.
My husband is going to judge me for this. He's
And-
watching, and we literally had that on TV, and I probably should have been paying attention.
I
wasn't.
watched the last
was-
playoff hole.
Yeah, I watched quite a bit of it. I didn't watch anything on Thursday, but I watched a fair amount of it on Friday, some on Saturday, but almost the entire thing on Sunday. And that was a spine-tingling moment to see Rory down there like that. And then you could feel see the body vibration, knowing, he was just in tears. And then he holds his daughter, and it was oh my
special.
God, it was an awesome moment. I've never been a big Rory fan. I am now, just because I love raw emotion. I think that's wonderful. My anyway, my son said something really cool yesterday. He says, "Dad, here's what I've learned. It's not that if you cry you're not a man, it's that if you don't cry you're not a man." And oh my God, where does my son get that insight? He's spot on. So anyway, I really appreciated the whole Rory McIlroy thing. All right, so let's do a little history. In 1912, the RMS Titanic hit an iceberg at 11:40 p.m. off the coast of what Canadian province? No help here. You're going to have to figure this one out on your own. Once again, in 1912, the RMS Titanic hit an iceberg at 11:40 p.m. off the coast of what Canadian province?
Is it called Nova Scotia? Is that what it's called? I don't know what the
It's the only
I don't know.
area that I know is near the water, so that's probably a great guess.
isn't it?
Not a
Well,
clue.
I will say this: you got the first letter right.
Oh,
It's about
no.
81 miles away from Nova Scotia. What are you looking around for, Greg? A globe?
I got a globe back
like-
there.
I know. I got a world
New
map here
Brunswick?
somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere. Just let it
Oh,
appear.
You are
Okay,
getting. Oh, looky. All
That
right.
ain't gonna help.
We don't
Starts
usually
with
allow
an
props,
N?
but we'll allow it this time. It does, and it also starts with a new.
It is
No.
a new.
I don't even know if it's on
It
there.
starts
Brunswick
with
comes to
new.
mind, but I don't even know if that's a province or
Brunswick.
That
No, here it
Brunswick.
is. I found
is
it.
in New Jersey.
It is actually on the globe. It's Newfoundland.
not.
It is.
Oh.
It's Newfoundland. You can pronounce it Newfoundland or Newfoundland is what it
Newfoundland.
is. All right, you only get a
I
half point.
would
for
have
that
never
one.
guessed.
All right.
Yeah, would have never.
Well, see, here's the thing. If
all
I
right.
would have given you options, I would have said Newfoundland or Nova Scotia. You all would have agreed Nova Scotia. So
That's right.
I figured I would not
You
get
had a
it.
wrong answer
All right.
anyway.
Here we go.
Yes.
Here we go. Ooh, I don't know. I'm thinking. Yeah, you know what? What the heck? Let's do this. Space.
Come on.
What is the Russian equivalent for to our astronaut?
Starts with a
In
C,
other words,
right?
what do they call their
Cosmonaut.
astronauts? The cosmonaut is correct. Cosmonaut is correct.
Cosmonauts. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cosmonaut.
All right.
All righty.
When we say Houston, we have a problem. What do they say? Moscow, we have a problem.
Oh, I wonder.
Yeah.
Russian
Yeah,
equivalent
because
of Houston,
St.
we have a problem.
Petersburg, we have a problem, doesn't flow off the tongue.
Yeah, you're right.
Is there a city called Vodka?
Vodka, we have a
Vodka,
problem.
we have a problem. It's empty.
Yes.
All right. All right. So here we go. Film. This, I believe, is question number 5. Am I correct on that? 6 and 7? Yes, I am. All right. Here we go. Name Dr. Evil's sidekick from the Austin Powers films, The Spy Who Shagged Me and Goldmember. Dr. Evil's sidekick.
This is not my topic.
He got paid $1 million for the show.
$1
I don't know if that's true or not.
Didn't he just call him Mini Me?
Ding,
Yeah.
ding, ding. Yes.
He didn't have it. He just called him Mini Me.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was
I
it.
mean, I can
That's the
picture
answer.
him, but I had no clue what his name was or what they addressed him as.
I should have said who played Mini Me on Austin
So
Powers.
ridiculous.
Oh,
That's
Vern
I have no
Troyer.
clue.
that would have been
Vern Troyer.
Vern Troyer. All right,
Okay.
we got 2 questions left. Let's bring this home. Let's end with a bang. Here we go. Here we go. Name this science fiction comedy film review. It was a television series created by Joel Hodgson. It began airing on Comedy Central in 1989. It featured a man reviewing movies with robots. Once again, name this science fiction comedy film review. It was a television series. It was created by Joel Hodgson. It began airing on Comedy Central in 1989. It featured a man reviewing movies with robots. Once you hear it, you're going to kick yourselves.
I know. I can't say I've ever sat down and watched a whole show of it, but I've watched it for a little while, and I'm like, that's kind of goofy. But what do they call
I got
this
nothing.
show?
I'm going to
I'm
give
trying to
you
remember
one.
1989.
1989.
I'm going to give you one hint that it's a good hint if you know the answer to this hint, but it has nothing to do with the question itself.
Okay.
How many hits in baseball do you pretty much need to get into the Hall of Fame?
3,000. Robot 3,000. Something 3,000. I don't know what.
Well, you're on the right track. You got the hint.
It's 3,000, but I can't remember. Yeah.
Well, you're going to get a third of a point. It's Mystery Science. Mystery Science 3000. Or Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Okay. All right.
All right. I'm sorry. These are difficult today. I'm
This is
sorry.
not a big trivia win week for us. That's all right.
That's
It
all right.
seems to be
That's all
my
right.
track record for trivia.
That's all right. You can bat 500 with this one here. No,
Come
you
on.
can't because there's 7 questions.
Yeah.
Oh,
Maybe
man.
400. I don't know. All right. All right. No, we'll make this one worth 4 points. How's that sound? In 1933, notorious outlaw John Dillinger was shot and killed outside of what Chicago movie theater? I'm going to give you 2 options: the Arcadia or the Biograph. Once again,
I've never
in
been to either one. I have
1933,
no clue.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to
notorious
defer
outlaw
to
John
New
Dillinger.
Orleans.
I'm going to go with the first one, the Arcadia,
That-
only because I haven't heard of the other one, though. So
I know. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Any dissenters on that?
I didn't even know the Biograph was a theater. And it's probably the answer, isn't it?
it probably is. So we're
Well,
really missing today.
It was where John Dillinger breathed his last breath, and then they wrote a biograph about him. It is Biograph.
It
the
is.
Biograph
All right.
theater. All right. Well,
You know what I'm
What
going
an
to do?
effort.
I'm going to burn this quiz.
Yeah, that was bad.
Bad
That was
quiz.
a bad one. Yes,
That was a
bad
bad
questions.
Bad quiz.
Well,
Bad quiz.
we had a better time with the questions on our Thursday night mass karaoke trivia contest, which was just already a couple of weeks ago. It's just crazy to think. And for Bria, thank you for bringing your team out and being a part of the festivities. We had a good time having your team there. We're looking at possibly doing it again in the fall, October or November, maybe early December. Haven't picked a date yet. Or a venue, because if we're going to have more teams, we're going to need more space. I think we maxed out our space at Hilton, so we need to figure that out. Haven't figured that out yet. But for those who did not attend our mass karaoke trivia contest on April 17th, basically what we did was we had 3 rounds of trivia and then 3 sets of karaoke. Each team got to sing 1 song karaoke and be judged by some awesome celebrity judges. We had Whitney Martin, who used to be on TV, who's now with GoRockford.com and does Made for Rockford. We had Garrett Rapp, who's a lead singer of The Color Morale, and he was on the Vans Warped Tour for years with his band, and he's a Rockfordian and helps run the Rockford BMX not-for-profit that's here in town, which is an awesome place as well. We had Blake Douglas, lead singer from Blue Steel, who's a Rammy Hall of Fame, Rammy Award winner and Hall of Famer. And then, of course, our Queen of Karaoke and lead singer from the Rock Surfers, Tracy Matsky, was also one of our judges. And they judged all 12 songs. All 12 teams did 1 karaoke song. And we had an overall karaoke winner. Each score from the karaoke song was included into the trivia scores to determine our grand champion, which this time around was Iverson Painting and their team playing for Rock House Kids. So Rock House Kids won a $2,000 prize from courtesy of Iverson Painting and their team. So congratulations also to Mosaic of Rockford. Medicare 411 had a team playing for them, and they won the trivia portion. They were actually not the top scoring trivia team, but they were the second best scoring trivia team because the winning trivia team was the one that won the whole contest. So it was only 1 prize per team. So that team won $500 from Mosaic, and then a team that came out of nowhere, Waldom Electronics. Roger and his crew put together a team which had this amazing singer, the gal that sang Don't Rain on My Parade.
Amazing.
Just tore the house down. It was amazing.
Yes.
So she
was
won the
really
karaoke
good.
portion going away. And they won a $500.
Although the guy from was it from Iverson? No, it was from Kevin's team. Shatter Our Silence. Yes, he's the gentleman that stars in the Rock Valley play, right?
Ezra is the lead in our
Ezra. Yeah.
This summer he's the lead in The Wedding Singer. So he plays Robbie, Adam Sandler's character, in The Wedding Singer, which
he's really good. He did a couple of songs that would be considered crooner songs, whatever. And he really, really knocked it out. I'm like, whoa.
He seemed a little bit nervous in the competition part, but the after party, the masks came off, so to speak. They just had a good time. And
Too much pressure for the
yeah,
contest part. Too
it
much pressure.
was. The
Yes.
pressure kind of affects a few people. So anyway, prepare yourselves for the next one. We'll do it again probably in the fall. So Bree, thank you so much for coming on this morning. We appreciate you and what
Yes.
your organization does, and we look forward
Thank you
to
for
Yes.
having
catching up
us.
with you down the
Yes.
line. I want to promote your events that you got coming up too. So we'll keep in touch. All right.
Awesome. Sounds great. Thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you, Bree. Bye now.
Bye-bye. Have a good
And we will transition to this guy right here.
Hey,
Hey,
good morning.
Pereira, Superintendent of the Veterans Assistance Commission of Winnebago County. How long has this organization been around? Jesus?
Yeah, it's a mouthful, huh?
It is. It's a lot to say.
Yeah, so a lot of folks, military folks, we love acronyms and whatnot. So VAC, WC, or VAC, the Veterans Assistance Commission, believe it or not, is a unit of local government and has been, God, since the 30s, the 20s. It's been around for quite some time. And its primary mission, when it first was put into place by your General Assembly, was to provide financial assistance to needy veterans, right?
Okay.
That's since sort of morphed into what we have today with a lot of changes in law and whatnot, to not only doing financial assistance, but also providing representation to veterans on veterans assistance claims or veteran claims against the Veterans Benefits Administration, which sort of changed the dynamics of how the office looks like and what it, the amount of staffing you need and whatnot. But yeah, we're here to be advocates for veterans from A to Z. I mean, I just recently came back from Washington, D.C., where we were kind of reviewing certain legislation that's out there, some that we really don't like and some that we do. Mostly the ones that we're worried about are the ones that would strip veterans from monetary benefits or make it means tested. But on the other side, there's great stuff that's trying to expedite how long VA disability claims go through, protecting veterans from having to pay. There's third-party agencies out there that charge veterans to file these initial claims. The VFW has coined them claim sharks. And, the whole idea is that these companies will come out, or you would go to these companies, you pay them for initial claim, and then you would give up to 5 times your initial rating, right? So some of these folks, for instance, I ran into to a gentleman who was a Vietnam veteran, had bladder cancer, and he was being treated by the Veterans Health Administration, but he wasn't being compensated for being ill. And I told him those were two different things, because in his mind he was like, VA's taking care of me, right? They're taking care of my health. And I said, no, but there's monetary gains on this as well on the other side for what you're going through. Brought him to my office. We filed a claim. 4 or 5 months later, he received 100% rating, which basically is about $4,000 a month, right? With a back pay of 5 months. So a company that are out there could possibly charge him that $20,000 to file that initial claim. We do it for, the cost of your real estate taxes, I guess. So
Gotcha. Well, we kind of jumped the gun on this. We went into your organization. We'd like to get into you first. So that was my fault. Let's talk about you a little bit. Well, where did you grow up and go to school, and kind of a little career arc of how you ended up working for the VAC?
So, like your gentleman there from Carpenter's Place, Alberto, I think it was.
Alberto, yes.
Yeah, I was also
born.
Yeah, I was born in Puerto Rico as well, and for some reason, my parents decided to move to Massachusetts.
Okay.
Because everybody loves snow.
Sure.
I sense sarcasm.
Yeah. Island snow, right?
Yeah.
So Caribbean, New England.
Wow.
Yeah, and as a young man, I became a father at a very young age. At the age of 16, I became a dad, and broke that news to my mom, and she just basically said, "You're going to have to do something about this. This is your responsibility, and you have to take care of it." So, I joined the Massachusetts National Guard at the age of 16 and a half. I graduated. I was 17. 3 days later, I was in the middle. I was in basic training. I ended up doing 21 years, combination of active duty and reserve time, deployment to the Middle East. And that was I would say my formal education in life. I've through the military, I was able to attend many schools and tons of training that brought me through this crazy route in my life where I learned software uh, creation. I've learned database information. I learned how to really do a lot of things through the military. And through that ended up being a civilian pilot
Hey, Kathy.
as a just basically something to do on the side. And I started a nonprofit to fly veterans around to get to their healthcare appointments. And that went really well. And then in 2015, I was selected as my city's Veteran of the Year. And during that ceremony, the gentleman that was at the podium said, "Hey, I'm going to end up leaving my job as a veteran service officer. This is something you might be interested in doing." And I was about to retire from the military. I said, "Why not?"
Okay. And that was that in Rockford or was that somewhere else?
So this whole time, I'm still in
You're
Massachusetts.
still in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm new to Rockford. I didn't move to
Yeah.
Rockford in November of 2023.
What brought you to our neck of the woods here?
The Veterans Assistance Commission.
They needed you here.
Well, I was
going
up
to
in.
say, I was going to
Yeah,
say
I was
not
up-
better weather, that's for sure.
It's not better weather, but it has been
No.
mild the last couple of years.
It has.
Isn't it?
Yeah. I happen to be up in Wisconsin in Madison teaching for the National Association of County Veteran Service Officers. I'm an instructor with them. And we basically paved the way for new veteran service officers. We help them get accredited. So I'm one of their instructors. And through that, I met a bunch of folks from Illinois. One of my mentors is from Illinois. And it was pretty interesting to understand how differently these Veterans Assistance Commissions are here in Illinois versus, say, Massachusetts or some other states. And so I just showed some interest. Few weeks later, the job came open. Someone sent me the application. I applied. I flew out here for the interview, got offered the job, and here I am.
Nice. Nice.
Well, before we move too far in, I've got a question that I thought of a second ago. Did you have to have your mom sign off on you being a 16-year-old military guy? Because, or did you just kind of maybe fudge the
No, we did it the right way.
Okay, all right.
There's a lot of history of military service in my family. My brother
Absolutely.
was 11 Hotel. He was a tow missile gunner, and my dad was in it for a short period. And I have cousins and uncles. Like, there's tons of history of in all Army.
Yeah.
We weren't smart enough to get into the Air Force. That's the way to do it. If you can do it.
Yeah, that's funny. No, what I thought you were going to say, that's why I said, there's a lot of history of people, of young boys, young men going in early, but they have to have their parents' signature to do it. So your mom was serious. Your responsibility. You're going to take care of this. I'm signing.
Yeah, it's literally the turning point. You know, when I get into like personal conversations about myself, I always say that I'm a statistical anomaly. I shouldn't be where I'm at today, but through the chances and mentoring that I had in the military, the training that I had in the military, I'm at where I am today. Like, I would have never thought Holyoke, which is the birthplace of volleyball, is the city that I'm from. And it's very much like Rockford in the sense that it's, it was an industrial city that lost a lot of its jobs when manufacturing went somewhere else. And there's a lot of poverty. So we weren't doing great in the education field. We weren't doing great socially. There was a lot of challenges there, but the military gave me that opportunity to sort of experience places and people that I would never have access to had I not left there. I would have been relegated to whatever was around me. And, meeting great people from all over the place is really, it was life-changing. So.
Well, I'm sure glad you found yourself to Winnebago County. Glad to have you here and doing some good work. When somebody, I'm going to kind of ask you the same question I asked Bree earlier. When the average person, the typical thing that comes to your office, what is the need that you find yourself most often fulfilling among the veterans here in Winnebago County?
So I think part of it, I guess the largest need would be education, as far as understanding benefits, availability, and access. A lot of individuals in this area are just unaware who is who. So a lot of folks confuse us with the VA, which we're partners with and work with all the time. They can't tell the difference between us and, say, a veteran service organization like the VFW or American Legion. But when I got here, educating the general public and letting them understand what we do, it was number one. Two, I would say that we also had a big financial assistance program. The first year I was here, we administered almost $500,000 in financial assistance to veterans of Winnebago County, which was an all-time high. And that's a real issue. There's a lot of impoverished veterans in this area, but the goal is through our work them through the federal system to see if they're able to access those particular benefits. Because once you get VA disability or service connection or access to VA services, that opens up a whole world of benefits that you may not have thought you had access to. One being like the Veterans Readiness and Employment Program, which they'll pay for you if you have a disability that you may have incurred in service. They'll pay for you to go to school, get a certificate, get a degree, and even provide you with the items like a laptop, a printer, things that you need to sort of excel. The VA, regardless of what you may hear out there, really is out there to help veterans reestablish themselves and land on their feet. Transportation, as I'm seeing the van up there, is something we provide. It's currently the local healthcare transportation is on hold and has been since the beginning of the year. But we do have another van that we take to Madison, Wisconsin to get folks up to the Madison VA.
Yeah, and I hear a lot of good comments about the care that our veterans are getting in Madison there, and the treatments and stuff that they can have available to them. This page here up on your Facebook page here is your event coming up in May, Saturday, May 10th, from 9 to 3 at the Hard Rock. Veteran Employment and Resource Event. Is this something you're doing in conjunction with somebody else, or is this your own?
So the way this came about is I was working with the Rockford PD, and their chief asked if we can do some collaboration on employment. And I said, sure, sounds great. And that same week, I got a phone call from the Madison VA saying, hey, we would like to have an event in your area because you're in our catchment area. And so I started putting the two together, and then that just expanded into this thing here. So what we have now is a full-blown employment and resource event. We have, I think right now, something like 21 vendors that'll be there. It is at the Hard Rock. They have basically provided a lot of the space for free and has supported this. They're there as an employer. But what we will have there is tons of veteran resources and individuals who really are veteran focused. This is open to the public because we know that the public are really close to other veterans, and we want you to come too. And throughout the day, we're going to be having seminars on stage about VA disability compensation. How do you gain access to that? How do you get access to, say, DIC benefits or pension benefits from the VA? So it's going to be 3 or 4 different things at the same time. And we really want the general public to come out and at least stop by and say hello and make a connection. Because let me tell you right now, we have Winnebago County. I'm going to share some staggering statistics here. Winnebago County, although it's the 10th largest in veteran population they're 8th largest in population in the state of Illinois. We're 96 out of 102 in VA disability compensation utilization.
Wow.
So
that doesn't make sense at all.
No, it doesn't, because we didn't send less veterans to war or less veterans got ill or injured because of their service. We're just not giving them access to it, or they don't know about it. So there's this misunderstanding that service connection compensation is because of war, and it's not. It's just simply an injury or an illness that you contracted while in military service, and there's treatment and compensation for that post-military life, because this is going to affect you for the rest of your life. If you hurt or injured your back in military service, your back is done for the rest of your life. You're never going to get that back. If you lose your hearing, your eyesight, if you injure yourself, you have arthritis or respiratory issues, anything that happened to you in service, that's with you for the rest of your life. And so by getting military or by getting service connected and getting some compensation for that, it opens up the door for VA healthcare. And VA healthcare is the gateway to everything else, believe it or not, whether it's homelessness assistance, substance abuse assistance, anything that you need from the VA almost always hinges on your ability to be eligible for VA healthcare, in which most people don't know, not every veteran is eligible for.
Okay. And there's another thing I think that needs to be pointed out. Something called Agent Orange, which is what my neighbor suffers from. He's a Vietnam vet. I think he's 76 now. This didn't come on until later. So you always have to be conscious of the fact that it may not show up when you're 42 years old. It may show up when you're 62 years old. So you need to be plugged in early. And I'm assuming I'm correct in my information. You need to be plugged in early so that when it does rear its ugly head, you're ready to go. Is that correct?
Yeah, Tom, you're not wrong at all. The most difficult days of my life are when a widow or surviving spouse comes to us trying to get assistance for their burial or health care for them or anything else, and they've never been in contact with the VA healthcare system, or they've never been in contact with the VAC, and we have to start from ground zero and do a lot of legwork. It's the most difficult part of our job. The sooner you're involved, the better. There are tons of repositories now that'll keep track of like your health and other veterans that are in your group, right? I'm a post 9/11 veteran. So they keep track of our illnesses, and then that helps Congress determine on whether or not they're going to make certain conditions presumptive to service in certain locations. Because in order to get compensation, you need to have an illness or an injury, an actual diagnosis for that, whatever illness or injury, and then a nexus connecting the two together. Well, when there's a presumption made that, hey, so for instance, I served in the Middle East. If I served in the Middle East and I come home and now I have rhinitis or sinusitis, the VA will presume that it was caused by my service in the Middle East. And just like folks that were in Vietnam or around any of the herbicides, diabetes, ischemic heart disease, hypertension. These are some of the illnesses that the VA is going to presume was caused by your military service. And they'll compensate you. They'll treat you great with healthcare. I mean, let me tell you, once you get VA healthcare at any level, you get free glasses, free hearing aids, and any prosthetic is free. Once you get over 50% service connected, all your medication, regardless of whether you're being treated for something that was service related or not, is absolutely free. I can use this healthcare anywhere in the world or anywhere. Just this is, it's great. I have no complaints. It's the only healthcare I have, but we're the conduit between the veteran and services. And if our financial assistance program is not something for you, maybe we can review your medical history, your service, and get you to where you need to be to gain access to VA healthcare. And the worst thing that I have or hear is when veterans tell me, oh, I have good insurance. Oh, I'm okay. I'm perfectly fine. Well, let me tell you something. Congress funds the Veterans Health Administration and the Veterans Benefits Administration based off of the amount of people that are using the system. So if you're not plugged in, it's one less dollar for us, for veterans. And that's on the political side. But yeah.
That's what it's there for. That's what it's there for.
And you go with what you know. You go with what's safe, because I can speak from personal experience. My wife just recently left her job, and that was my insurance as well. So now I have to find alternate insurance. And had I had some sort of veterans benefits, that wouldn't have changed. So
that's right. It's a great backup. Let me tell you, if you're trying to lose weight, there's the MOVE program. If you're having issues with smoking, they have cessation programs. There's all sorts of stuff. And this employment and resource event, folks from the VA will be there. We have folks from the state, the Illinois Department of Veteran Affairs that'll be there, Wisconsin's Department of Veteran Affairs. We're going to have live Q&A if folks have questions about benefits. But we really want folks to come out. We want to meet our veterans. I have a project called Project 540, where we're trying to get 540 veterans who have never been service connected access to service connection, so we can be on par with the rest of the counties in the state of Illinois.
So 540 is the goal, because that would put you on par with the other counties. Is that?
That's correct. Yeah. Right now, I think we're about 19% of our veterans are service connected. We want to be about 24%.
Wow. I mean,
that's a $13 million impact to Winnebago County, by the way, because the average person receives something about $25,000 a year of tax-free money from the federal government. And there's been an exodus of veterans out of not only Winnebago County, but out of Illinois.
Yeah, exactly.
So we want to find ways to keep them here. And the cost of living here is cheap. Coming from Massachusetts, I can enjoy and appreciate the home that I'm in, the cost of living here. In comparison, I know that, when you're someone who's organic to the area, you always have complaints about taxes, and I'm sure that's always an issue, but it is cheaper here.
No, as a realtor and as someone who made a career change, about well, it's been almost 15 years now that I made a career change. And in that process, my wife and I did a lot of research. Okay, we have job opportunities in Virginia. We have job opportunities in Southern California. We had a couple other opportunities that we're looking around the country. And we didn't just look at the jobs. We looked at the cost of living in those places. And what we found was we would have to make twice as much or more to have a similar lifestyle there as we have here. And we wouldn't have family there.
Right.
So that added expense of not having family to help care for kids and just do things together with, it was a kind of a no-brainer to stay here. We're so glad we stayed.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the greatest benefits that is available here in Illinois is veterans that are 70% service connected or greater. And that's just a rating that the VA gives you based off of the different disabling conditions you may have. We are exempt from property taxes here.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal. So if you use the VA, so for instance, when I bought my home here, I bought this home in 30 days, by the way, because I had 30 days to get out here, and I bought it sight unseen. I used VA loan or loan guarantee to secure the home. Got the property tax exemption. Like I said, it was one of the better moves for me personally. I love this. I love where I live. I'm on the southern part of Rockford right now. I'm by the airport, so being an aviator, I get to see the planes coming in and out.
I'm not too far from you, buddy.
Yeah, there you go. Love it.
I do really like it.
So, sight unseen's kind of dangerous. If you'd have showed up and there's wheels on your house, there's no turning back, buddy.
I would have Army guy, man. I would have dealt with it. It's okay.
That's right. That's right.
Pick up and haul it out to the country.
We're gonna adapt and make it work. That's what we're gonna do.
Have to overcome.
Well, I want to make sure I put the link to your website in our chat here before I forget, because that'll make it easier for everyone, either on YouTube, Rumble, or Facebook.
This is a fabulous website. This was in the works before I got here. We went through. There's tons of information there. There's a calendar with all sorts of veteran events there. So if you have a veteran event and want us to put it on our calendar, we will. We also have a newsletter that you can sign up for, and we can, we probably do one or two newsletters a month. But if you scroll down, there's some interesting statistics. Too far. Go up a little bit. Whoa. Sorry, right there. So since November of 23, our office has secured over $2 million in VA compensation for veterans. So that's when we started tracking it. Now that's reoccurring dollars. Every year, those veterans are going to get, they're going to receive those funds and they're going to spend it here in the economy in Winnebago County. We want to keep that going. I want to see 20, 30 million, 40. I can't wait till that grows. And then the first year that I was here, we paid for over 900 nights of emergency shelter for veterans.
Wow. And these are men and women who shop at your stores and eat at your restaurants, and they're doing events here around Rockford. That money doesn't exist unless they apply for it and get it, sent to them. So
it does a great job. And let me tell you, in Boston or in Western or in Central Mass, you can live off of 100% disability compensation from the VA, but out here you absolutely can.
Yeah. That's a very good point. Well, hey, I've got some questions for you. I've been using AI for the last couple of months.
Yes.
And so I got some AI generated questions for our guest today. I said, hey, Gemini, I'm interviewing Jesus Pereira from the Veterans Assistance Commission. And AI said, hey, interviewing Jesus Pereira from the Veterans Assistance Commission is a valuable opportunity to discuss the support available to veterans in your area. Here are 3 good questions to ask him. Number 1, for veterans in the Loves Park and Rockford area who may be unaware of the services available to them, could you provide an overview of the Veterans Assistance Commission and the types of support you offer? And we already did that. So we covered that question very well already. Question number 2, what are some of the most common challenges and needs you see among the veterans that you assist in this region? And how does the Veterans Assistance Commission work to address those specific needs? We've already pretty much covered that as well. Got the link in the chat so people can find you there real easy. And the third question here, how can the local community in Loves Park and Rockford best support the mission of the Veterans Assistance Commission and the veterans you serve? Are there opportunities for volunteering or needs for donations or other forms of involvement? We didn't really get into that yet.
Sure. So the first thing I would say is sharing that we exist is probably step number one. Letting everyone know that there is there is a resource, a government agency out there that is there specifically to help veterans and their families, and it's also their families. Um, we're here to guide people through not only financial assistance, but also maybe access to education and some other things, or maybe funeral expenses. There's a lot of things that we can do, but knowing that we exist is mostly important. We have packets in the office that we can give different generations of veterans that sort of outlines, hey, if you have any of these conditions, these are presumed to have been caused by your military service. Let's file a claim for that. We do a deep dive into your medical background, into your service. We want to know we are underfunding our veterans in this county. We are absolutely just behind the eight ball. We want you to know that we exist. As far as volunteering, we have volunteer drivers that drive to the Madison, Wisconsin VA. You are required to, you're a volunteer of the VA at that point. So you would have to do a background check, they do a health check because you'll be driving one of their vans.
But it's not a big van, right? So you don't need a CDL.
No, it's not, it's just regular, like 16 passenger van. So that's pretty easy. And a lot of folks do that, and that's great. And we could always use more drivers. So if you feel like you want to come drive and volunteer for us, right there, 815-516-2850. Speak to Myra, and she'll get you going with a volunteer packet.
Awesome. Good deal. Okay. And then I asked if AI would give me some funny or odd questions for you. Let's see if any of these are worth pursuing. If the Veterans Assistance Commission had a secret superhero squad to tackle veteran related issues, what would their names and powers be?
Names and powers be.
we need a secret superhero squad for the Veterans Assistance Commission. I don't know. Are you a fan of any of these Marvel comics or anything like that?
I never grew up being a Marvel comic fan or anything. I mean, I was too busy trying to be an adult at a young age.
Me too.
But
hand up.
I know what powers I would want some of them to have. Like, I would want one to be like my political arm, so they could be like, you can call them Mr. President, and they can go there and just take care of all the politics that I don't like to deal with, because policies really dictate how we determine what services we provide locally.
Yeah.
Quite frankly. And without the political portion of what we do, things don't happen. There's a lot going on right now at the VAC. We had to cut services this year. So being able to overcome some of those challenges would help the veterans in the community. Two, someone that can actually just scoop up all the homeless veterans and get them immediately housed and with the services that they need. Now, there are programs for that, but if I had a superhero who could take care of that for me, that would be wonderful. And the third superhero, I don't know what I would name this one, but it would be someone who would stop any veteran who is thinking about unaliving themselves and looking for just getting them to live the next minute, so they understand that the next minute is there, that they can still be here, and that there's always tomorrow. I'm pretty bad with names, but I think those are the superpowers that I would want.
Captain Encouragement or Major Encouragement. There we go. Major Encouragement.
That's great.
I think you missed one though. There's a lot of paperwork. You could have bureaucracy man. he could have BM on his chest. No, I didn't think that was fair, did I?
The feeder of red tape.
We get a lot of big wins, like, right, when things go through for our veterans, we get to see like their monetary gains and how they got healthcare and all these, we can see people's lives get better after we help them. But we spent a lot of time doing administrative work. It's what the job is. You sit behind a desk, you're reading and you're looking at paper, you're disagreeing with the VA, you're representing people at the Board of Veteran Appeals, you're doing a lot of these things, and it's not that exciting. But watching someone's life change is absolutely wonderful.
Oh yeah, and saving someone's life too. That's that. Going back to what you were just saying, that can't be understood. That can't be stated enough or over whatever, because that is so very important. Because as we've discussed before, suicide doesn't just affect the person who dies; it affects the family, the family, the loved ones, the best friends,
neighbors, and friends,
the neighbors. Yeah, so that's such an important one.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I guess the last thing I'll say is that I too have a podcast, right? The VAC. It's called the Veterans Talk Radio. I'm sorry, you can find that on Spotify and some other hosting sites. I talk and we discuss benefits that are available out there. We discuss anything veteran related, whether it's legislation or just what's going on locally. Now, this is it is co-hosted with a gentleman from Massachusetts because we obviously I used to live in Massachusetts and I was a director of veteran services out there, so we had to rebrand a little bit, but we still come out weekly and. We're trying to break into this market. We want to let people know that we're here. It's really just sharing the information, letting the community know that we're here for them.
And you know, the stat you gave us earlier is kind of heartbreaking when you said we are 95th out of 102.
96 out of 102.
96 out of 102. Let's raise that number.
Yeah, and you know, and for me that's a motivator, right? Like, give me a challenge, I'm ready to go after it. But Illinois is also on the bottom of and this is on disability compensation. We're also on the bottom nationwide. We're 52 out of 54 territories and states.
Wow.
Again, access information. Let's stop being proud. Let's start getting our mental health. Let's start using the VA healthcare system. Let's get our compensation, and let's spend our money back in the community, which helps our local businesses.
Absolutely. Well, we'll do our part to try to help spread the word.
Thank you very much.
I have another question. It's completely unrelated, but it has to do with football. Are you a Patriots fan then?
Oh, no. Ever since I moved here, and as of 8 minutes ago, I love Green Bay. Green Bay is like
all right.
Team, right?
Community owned Green Bay Packers. That's
right. I gotta say, Greg, I would love to talk for a minute afterwards if you don't mind, if we want to talk some Packer football. But I gotta say, Green Bay for the first 2 days of this draft knocked it out of the park.
Yeah,
this has been, and I really don't watch the draft very much just because it's the draft. You know, 10 minutes later,
the
Seahawks picked so-and-so, you know, who cares?
There's a lot of drama around Sanders, I hear.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel so bad. A lot of people are really, really down on Shedeur Sanders and Deion Sanders. There was a moment where I became a Deion Sanders fan, and it was last year. His other son, Shiloh, comes to the sideline. He had done something, missed an interception, or did something, or maybe it was even Shedeur threw an interception. I don't remember. Both of his sons playing on the team. He grabs him by the helmet like this, and he got right up and he talked to him. He patted him on the helmet and gave him a hug. Coaches don't do that, but that was his son. That was a complete and total dad moment. I thought it was one of the best things I've seen in a long time. Say what you want about Deion Sanders. That moment right there is what turned me into a Deion Sanders fan. Shedeur Sanders, I don't know enough about him. They claim that the reason he hasn't been picked is because he's a jerk. You know, he's kind of full of himself. Don't you want that in a quarterback?
The word entitled has been thrown around a lot. He acts entitled.
Yeah,
and that's not a good thing.
All right.
You want to coach a player.
You do, but I don't know. I'm going to have to see it to believe it. I would have picked him early on. I would have picked him.
This is going to be a blessing in disguise for him because it's going to cause him to step up. He's going to have to say, okay, if I'm going to be an NFL guy like my dad was, I need to step up and do something. Apparently my attitude or, you know, my persona, whatever I'm putting out in the ethos ain't really what people want to see and hear. So what am I going to have to do?
And I think he's every bit as talented as his dad.
Talented.
Oh, he's very talented. You know, the knock on Deion Sanders is he couldn't tackle or wouldn't tackle. So yeah, he's flashy and dashy.
Give him the ball, and he's hard to tackle.
He could play He could play baseball. He could intercept the ball. He could run back kickoffs. He could do just about anything, but he was not a tackler. And because he could do everything else so well, Shedeur Sanders is a good passer. He's good at reading defenses. He can run out of the pocket. He's a triple threat. So teams are going to be very sorry they didn't pick him. So much like Tom Brady, a 6th round draft pick.
So Jesus, if I'm getting the feeling you're not a big football fan in general. Do you have a sport that you really like following, or are you not really much of a sports fan?
in the height of baseball season, obviously the Red Sox is my team. I love watching the Red Sox play, but I missed the Big Daddy and
Poppy,
back in the day, man. He was great. You know, Martinez and like everyone back in the day was really. You know, I was around during the the bombing at the marathon in Boston, and the energy. And I went to the very first Red Sox games right after that, and the energy in that park that day was it's something that you can't. I don't think you could ever describe it, and I don't think I'll ever feel it again. But you talk about a unified city. But that era of baseball was my favorite. I mean, we were also winning a lot too. So
yeah. The Red Sox coming back and winning some titles again. That was pretty.
I mean, we lost Damon. I mean, geez, going to the other teams, and it's like, oh, that's our enemy. What are you doing?
Yeah. Well, look at Roger Clemens. Roger Clemens goes from the Red Sox to, I think he went to Toronto, and then
Arizona.
Maybe he went to the Yankees, and then it was Toronto, Houston, and the Yankees. But did he go right from the Red Sox to the Yankees? Because that's a garbage move right there. I always hated Roger Clemens anyway.
Yeah. Little polarizing figure.
Well, I don't like pitchers that throw at batters for whatever reason.
Yeah, that's a dirty thing. No. Well, the whole thing now too is like there's a pitch clock now.
Yeah, there is.
You know,
it's like a pitch clock.
Let me tell you, I've obviously been out of watching sports for some time, and when I see these things go on, and I'm like, what? Why didn't this take 8 minutes to throw a pitch? You know, they're rushing through all the pitches.
Yeah, exactly. Baseball right now is almost unrecognizable if you came through a time warp 20 years ago, and now all of a sudden today, like, whoa, wait a minute. The 10th inning, there's a guy. How'd that guy get on second base? It drives me nuts.
Right. Yeah. The other thing too, though, I would say the same thing about basketball. I watched the Celtics play the other day, and it's like, I feel like, you know, I grew up in the Scottie Pippen days, and you know, and it just seemed like if you just touch someone nowadays, it's a foul. Like, if you look at them, it's a foul, and it's just it feels like a different game. I feel like it was a rougher game back in the 90s.
Mm-hmm. A lot more physical back then. Well, hey, I think we unless we didn't ask you something we wanted to ask you about, if you wanted us to ask you anything specific that we did not touch on today, anything else that we want to?
Nope, I just can't reiterate it enough. Like, we want people to know that we are there. We're there for you. We work for you. It's your tax dollars that pay for us. And we wanted to let every veteran know that we're here to help them. So come see us, come hang out. We have events that we do here and there. At the very least, just come say hello. We have a great team.
Okay. Send us the link to your podcast so we can put that on the show notes as well. Okay?
I will do that. Thank you so much, Greg. And Tom, thanks. Right. I feel like Tom's a big teddy bear. He likes heart, touchy-feely things, right?
No. You're
don't get me started.
He's only got about 600 of those.
At least 600. I've added about 50 since I told you that. So I got a whole wall full of them up there. I got quite a few of them back here. In fact, if you look up there,
there's a whole bunch up there. Yeah.
You can also see my dad's flag way up at the top. Yeah. Oh, there it is. It's right.
It's up there.
It's right.
I see
there.
Isn't it weird, the whole mirror thing? You're just like,
oh God, it drives me nuts. Drives me nuts. I'm left and right challenged anyway. No, you're on the right.
What's important is we can read Super Bowl champions. That's
there you go. Yeah. Now see, I got to go this way.
There you go.
Can see it.
Hey, I'm always available. If you guys ever want me or want me to come back on or bring some information to you, there's always stuff going on, and we want to get out there, let everybody know that.
Well, I've got a group I'd love to come out and speak to, so we'll connect on that off the air here too, and invite you to that.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jesus. Have a great weekend.
You too.
All right. God bless you, my friend.
All right, that was awesome. That was a great show, and we are not done yet.
A great show.
We've got
and if you got time to stick around, I'd love to talk just a little.
Yeah, we'll talk a little draft. Current race to 10 has Tom in the lead by a score of 5-2. Let's back off the screen a little bit and go to our big number of the week. 21.6 billion is the answer. Chains or cruises? You sent me your guess, so I
certainly did.
The score here. Are you a fan of Chick-fil-A?
I'm a big fan of Chick-fil-A. I love the philosophy. The service is phenomenal. The food is great. The deals they give you are wonderful. I'm a big fan.
Well, Chick-fil-A is one of the it is the highest per restaurant total of all fast food chains in America.
Okay, for future reference, I really wish you would have said restaurant chains.
In spite of being closed on Sundays, in the year 2023, Chick-fil-A made $21.6 billion in U.S. sales, and a far and away the highest per restaurant total of all American fast food chains, even though they're closed on Sundays. I'm going to
That is and that is amazing.
That is.
Seriously, restaurant chains would have helped.
I know. Cruises, the average customer, this is going to surprise a lot of people. The average customer taking cruises for vacations spends $2,100 on a cruise. That includes their ticket price. If you're looking for an affordable way to take a really nice vacation, a 5, a 7, a 9-day cruise, you can take a lot of 5 and 7-day cruises for about $2,100. You might your flight to get to the point where you're embarking might cost a little bit to add on to that total, just a little bit, but sometimes you can work that into your package deal and make it very affordable. So,
well, let's just say, for instance, you were going to take, I don't know, Alaskan cruise or whatever. You can get a flight from Rockford to, say, Mesa. I think we go to Mesa, and then rent a car to go to the coast or whatever. I mean, yeah, there's other ways around it. You're exactly right. And those flights to, say, Mesa would be, I don't know, $89 or something like that. So you're talking minimal there.
Oh, the cheap one right now, I think, is Rockford to Florida, right? Was it Fort Myers, or I forget where they land, where they go to Florida, but you're not too far away of a drive to the port where you can hop on a cruise ship.
Well, there you go. Yeah, exactly.
It's a really great way to take a vacation. I'm a big fan of the cruises.
And you know what? To sock away a couple grand, $4,000 or something like that, you could do that in 6 months. Just 100 here, 100 there.
Here's some other stats that came out here. The average age of a cruise ship passenger is 46, according to Cruise Lines International Association. So maybe not as old as some people might think. 20 years ago, that's down from 49. 36% of cruise customers are now under the age of 40. But what's the appeal? Cruises are still more cost effective as a vacation option than land-based resorts, according to analyst estimates. Formal dinners and Broadway-style musicals and water slides and roller coasters and even pickleball courts and upscale restaurants are all on these cruise ships now.
So I can tell you, not from personal experience because I've never been on a cruise, but I think I can tell you what the appeal is. You don't ever leave with a sense of, oh man, I wish we could have done that. Well, we missed out on that, because it's there. It's all right there. You can't not go see the mountains. You can't not go to the museum. You can't, because it's all right there. And if you happen to be floating by the mountains, you're seeing the mountains. But it's not like when we were out there, I really wish blah blah blah. I remember when we were coming back from Seattle, we drove back. And when we were out in Seattle, we came through South Dakota. We did not go to Mount Rushmore. 30 miles away, we could have just did a quick detour, but we were on a bit of a time frame, needed to get the rental car back at a certain point, and we didn't want to be late. So we didn't do that. So I regret that. But on a cruise, if you want to go see the Broadway play, it's right there. Just go up to the Lido deck or whatever, and then over cross there, and you're there.
They bring on comedians, they bring on music shows, they bring on all this fun stuff to do. And they actually have a cruise director and an entertainment division on the cruise that is all designed to make sure you have a good time the entire time you're on the ship. So.
And the cruise director's name is Julie. Just
there's a lot of different things, a lot of different options out there when it comes to cruises. All right. I think that takes care of all of our stuff this week, Tom. We'll talk. Do you want to talk a little draft stuff? But before we do, I want to make sure I mention that next week, our guest is going to be Phil Zaleski. He's the executive director of Camp I Am Me, and that's Camp I Am Me M-E. They have oh gosh, I believe what they do a lot of is camps for victims of fires, people who have been injured in fires. We're going to talk all about that. We're going to talk about with Captain Tim Morris from the Rockford Fire Department and Jessica Boyer, who's a camp volunteer and a former camper. I'll learn all about this not-for-profit you probably have never heard of before, unless you are a family member or a person that has suffered burn. You're a burn victim of some sort. You might have heard about it. Otherwise, we want to make sure that the word gets out about Camp I Am Me and the opportunities that we have here in Northern Illinois right there. And of course, a reminder too, that we have a website with some really fun and cool gear. If you don't have any 815 gear or not enough 815 gear, it's time to get some more cool 815 gear. Check out incrowd815.com and buy a t-shirt, a hoodie, a hat. It's the summertime. You need a new baseball cap, right? Get your InCrowd 815 baseball cap, and you'll be supporting our podcast with those purchases as well. So incrowd815.com is the website. All right. Green Bay, Wisconsin hosting the draft, and they've done a really good job, and I'm hearing a lot of good things about how
it's
they've
phenomenal
done up there. So this might not be the last time Green Bay hosts the draft.
I would think not. I mean, if you knock it out of the park like that, and of course there's 32 teams, and you got to give everybody a chance. So what, we're going to host again in 2060? You know,
I got a feeling that we might see Green Bay host the draft again before before our lives are over, Tom. It could happen because of the job.
Good. I'm glad you got me living at least another 20 years.
Yeah, no, because there's a lot of doubts. Obviously, it's the smallest market, smallest town in the NFL. Once Buffalo finishes their stadium and gets all their stuff situated with their new digs, they'll probably want to host the draft at some point.
There could be snow in April in Buffalo, though.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Has Vegas hosted the draft yet?
They had a Super Bowl, so
they had a Super Bowl, but
no, I don't believe they've hosted the draft because I don't think they could have, but I don't think so. They've only had a football team for, I think this is year 3 or 4. 3, I believe, going into, I think.
Let's see here. I'm wondering.
They're going to give the newbies a chance, like Houston probably, and
New York has had it tons of times.
Oh yeah,
Philadelphia, Chicago, Milwaukee hosted the draft once in 1940.
Wow.
Well, hello.
That's cool.
That's kind of wild.
Well, back then there were like 12 teams or 10 teams, whatever.
Right. So anyway, Green Bay's first time hosting the draft. I don't think it'll be their last. And of course, the big deal was the Packers pick with the whatever it was, 25th, 26th,
23rd pick overall. And then Anthony Belton was the 87th pick.
But the Packers got a wide receiver. Their first pick, they took a wide receiver for the first time since 2002 in the first round. Yeah. And everyone's excited about Matthew Golden coming to Green Bay out of Texas.
Yeah. The Anthony Belton, I think he was the 55th or 54th pick or something. Whatever. And then Savion Williams was the 87th pick overall. 3rd pick. So.
Okay. By the way, Pittsburgh is hosting the draft next year.
Pittsburgh. Okay. All right. That's a great football town.
And I don't see them ever having. Oh, no, they hosted it once in 1948. This will be their second time.
Wow. That's crazy that it would be that long.
Vegas did host it in 2022.
Okay.
So, yeah, I see them spreading this around a lot more than just New York and Philadelphia and Chicago. They've they've had their
Well, how many times has Chicago hosted it?
10 times.
Wow.
38, 42, 43, 44, 51, 62, 63, 64, and 15, 16.
Okay.
I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 10 times. And there's a bunch of consecutive times there. Why did they host it twice? 2015 and 2016. I don't get that.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. I don't know.
And of course, New York City hosted it the longest from 1965 all the way till 2014. They had it every year until they really turned it into a big time event and started spreading it around. So,
yeah, why wouldn't you? I don't understand. I mean, you've had 106 seasons now,
yeah.
or you're going into your 106th season, and you've had 15 different host cities.
Yep.
You know, or whatever. Did Portsmouth ever host it? Remember the Portsmouth Spartans?
Let me put this screen up here for you real quick so you can see. This is from an NBC Sports Boston website. NBC
Has
Sports
Canton, Ohio, home of the Hall of Fame. Have they never?
Cleveland hosted in 2021. Of course, it was virtual in 2020. But Dallas has only hosted it once. Nashville hosted it once. We got to remember too, Tom, this wasn't a thing. This wasn't even really much of a thing until what, 2013 or 14, when they actually turned it into like a big show, a big deal.
No, you're right. You're correct.
It's only been a big show deal for like the last 15, 20 years. And those first years, there was all in New York City before they got the bright idea to start spreading the wealth and spreading it around the country. I mean, think about this. How many Europeans, soccer fans, even fathom the idea of a whole, 200,000 people showing up to watch teams pick their players for the next season?
Oh, I think the beer flowing had as much to do with 250,000 people showing up. That's how many people were estimated to be there for this entire weekend. I would absolutely love to have gone up there, but there's just no way. I can't justify going up there, spending the weekend for that,
I'm not, I don't think I'd get the appeal. I mean, it'd be fun to have a nonstop, tailgate party for 3 days, I guess. But yeah, I just, this isn't something I have the interest to go and do. I just want to watch it on TV. It's, I don't know. Anyway, so Matthew Golden, we already talked about him probably making a pretty big impact on the Packers. Here's hoping we get a healthy wide receiver. We got a new offensive lineman, and then they picked another receiver in the 3rd round.
Yep, Savion Williams. And I'll tell you why I think so far this is a phenomenal draft. Number one, Matthew Golden, what they're saying to Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, Dontavian Wicks, who can't catch a ball, apparently. What they're saying is, you're going to be challenged. You either put up or shut up, or you're gone.
Yeah.
Romeo Doubs, you want to run your mouth and say, "Oh, I'm not a big enough part of then you better play better, or else we will deal you." You're entering year number 4. That means next year it's technically in this year you'd be restructuring his contract. Well, let's not. Let's get rid of him if he doesn't want to get on with the team philosophy. Matthew Golden, if he comes in and has an immediate impact, I'm not going to say is an immediate star, just has an impact. 60 catches. What?
Give him 700 yards, whatever. It's just a.
Okay. I thought you said, "Oh no." I'm like, what did I miss?
No. I just here's the 1st round pick 23, Matthew Golden out of Texas.
Yeah, right. I think it's a great pick.
Bunch of stuff on Packers.com, how he toured the facility and all that other stuff.
Yeah, I think it's a great pick because he's going to challenge those other wide receivers. Now let's go down to 3. We'll leave 2nd for a second. Savion Williams, another wide receiver. I don't know anything about him. He could be the biggest bust of all, but he also could be a Puka Nacua type. Did you ever hear of Puka Nacua before he burst onto the scene?
I think
he came out of nowhere. And here's the funny thing. 2 years ago, I had him on my fantasy team. I picked him up, and then I let him go 6 weeks later, and then 8
Oops.
weeks later, he's an absolute bona fide superstar. Why? Why? It's because you go with what's hot. You don't know these things. You just don't know these things. So Savion Williams could be the next Puka. He could be the next Devontae. He could be the next whoever. Who knows?
I'm excited about this guy because the initial things I'm hearing about Savion Williams is he's one of those teammate guys, one of those encouragement guys, one of those locker room guys that you want building up the culture of your organization. So I got a feeling this is the like you said, Romeo Dobbs had a little issue last year. I don't know if he's corrected it or not. But
no, I don't think he has. I don't think he has, because after he came back from his suspension for, team conduct, detrimental team whatever, I don't think he learned his lesson, because he still had a little bit of an edge, still had a little bit of an attitude. It's not the kind of edge you want. This was a little bit of an attitude like, I deserve better, I this and that. Fine, go somewhere else and see what you can do. But if you've got 2 wide receivers in the first 3 rounds coming in, you are sending a very clear message to your receiving crew. Here's the other thing. I think the Packers wide receiving core, Tucker Kraft not counting, Bo Melton, Malik Heath not counting those. They weren't the starters. Tucker Kraft is, but he was a tight end. He's a tight end, so that doesn't matter. I'm talking about only wide receivers. I think they were guilty of reading their own headlines, because of the fact that they had such a great season, because Jordan Love could find, you're going to double cover that guy. Fine, I'll throw to this guy. Oh, you're going to cover him too. Well, then I'll throw to this guy. Oh, you're going to do that? Well, I'm going to do this. They had options. Now, once defenses start catching up, and once guys are proving that they are either not a team player or can't catch, Dontavian Wicks, that's, he's Dontavian Wicks I love, but he's got to be able to catch that ball. The Packers were, I don't know if they led the league, but they were very, very high in dropped passes. And with dropped passes, you got that ball right there and you drop it. How many times did we have it? This is the difference between 2 wins, and you were 11-6. You could have been 13-4. Your seeding would have been different.
The most drop passes, I think, in the league.
I believe they were. So if you've got the most drop passes, that's why you got a wide receiver at 1 and a wide receiver at 3. So I am ecstatic with that. Number 2, Anthony Belton. This guy is a monster, from what I understand. A good guy, North Carolina State. He will flat out pancake you. And what they're also saying here is, we went Jordan Morgan last year, and Jordan Morgan, who? Jordan Morgan? How many he played? You know what? This podcast has lasted more minutes than what Jordan Morgan played last year. And I believe that's an absolute fact. I think he was in 2 games and he played minimum minutes. He might have gotten 30 to 40 minutes tops last year. So if your number 1 overall pick isn't even on the field, I understand injuries. It's an NFL team, NFL players. I get it. He may absolutely be a bust. Fine. Let's see if Anthony Belton at pick number 54, 55, somewhere around in there.
Yep.
Let's see if he can materialize. And so they're also sending a message to the offensive line.
You guys, stats up here. 6'6", 336 pounds.
Yeah, no, that's a monster.
Yeah,
that is absolutely
that's
unbelievable.
The guy you want protecting your quarterback right there.
Absolutely. Now, here is the best part of all that. You saw a problem and you're correcting a problem. Last year, we drafted 2 linemen, maybe 3, 2 for sure. Jordan Morgan and Monk from Duke. I forgot Davis Monk or something like that. I can't remember. It started with a D, but I can't remember his his first name. Anyway, he was a center. He was going to be the heir apparent because we had lost. I want to say Josh Myers, right? Is that who we had lost?
Myers to the Rams or wherever.
Yeah, somewhere. Anyway, I don't think either of those 2, Morgan or Monk, are gonna pan out. I don't think they're gonna materialize. But we already have Zach Tom. We already have Rashid Wilson. Why am I Wallace? Rashid Wallace? Is that right?
I'm forgetting his
Wilson.
name
Oh,
too.
anyway, left guard. We already have that. We already have Elton Jenkins. He can play center. He's a good center. We already have Sean Ryan. We have a very good line. We just made it better. And that's the beauty of it right there. So we'll see what pick 4, 5, 6, and 7 and pick 8 holds. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We got 5 picks left today. 5 picks. Where do you think we know? I can tell you where we're going to go.
I think the Packers
Defense.
kind of got lucky this year because all these other teams really needed offensive linemen. So you saw all these linemen getting picked in the early rounds. And so that freed up these great wide receivers that they got. So
yeah,
that played into their favor. And now it's the part of the draft where teams start picking running backs, right? And fill in the gaps on defense, which is what the Packers need, some linebacker.
There
and
are some
cornerback
decent defensive players out there. We need an edge rusher, and we could use an interior defensive lineman. We need a cornerback, and we could probably go one more guard, maybe one more offensive lineman, just to shake things up. Green Bay is notorious for Kit Kat. Yeah, I have not to outdo you, but peanut M&Ms, buddy. Peanut M&Ms. This is also known as 112 sugar points for me. Yeah, that's why I haven't opened them yet. But anyway, so I like where we're going with this. I really do. But we're going to definitely focus on defense now. Cornerback. We don't need a safety. We got Evan Williams. We got McKinney, Xavier McKinney. We've got linebackers. We need defensive linemen and a cornerback. And so I think your next 2 to 3 picks are going to be that. Then you can patch holes on your line, or maybe grab another crazy wide receiver, or maybe, and here's what I think we should do, is grab another running back. Because we don't know how Marshawn Lloyd is we don't know. We don't know
who's going to be the number 2 to Josh Jacobs. That's
right.
Big question.
Yeah, because AJ is gone. AJ Dillon is gone.
Yeah.
And if Dillon is gone, then all you have is Marshawn Lloyd and Emmanuel Wilson. I love Emmanuel Wilson. I do. Mm-hmm. But he's not a starter for a reason. He is a backup. I want another guy. I want a guy that can be, like we got David Montgomery and Tyrese Gibbs. I think it's Tyrese Gibbs over in Detroit. That's the kind of tandem that you need. You have to have a dual.
We always talk about, the running back, the thunder and lightning,
sure,
tandem. Well, what would you put Josh Jacobs? Would he be the thunder or the lightning? The dude runs with such power, but he's elusive too. I mean,
he is your lightning for that reason. He's your lightning for that reason. If you want, Josh Jacobs is your workhorse. He's going to play just about every down, but on third down, you're going to bring in your big guy, your John Kuhn type. Your who is the guy?
AJ Dillon when he was in his prime.
Yeah, AJ Dillon. Yeah, absolutely. And the funny thing is, AJ Dillon's 26, 27 years old.
He's a young guy. Yeah,
he's a young guy still. I still like AJ Dillon. I'm bummed that kind of went by the wayside. I really liked AJ Dillon. But that's okay. It's okay. But he is definitely the lightning, Josh Jacobs. You need a thunder. Or you need another lightning, like a small little scat back, like what Tyrese Gibbs gives Detroit, or what Alexander Madison gave Minnesota when they had Alexander Madison and the guy, he went to the Jets. He started with a D, DC.
Oh gosh.
Dalvin Cook. Yeah, and his brother is in Buffalo, James Cook. But anyway, there's a lot of guys out there. You could get in free agency, or you could get somebody in the 5th or 6th round. You got 4, 5, 6, 7, 7. Those are your picks. So that seventh rounder is your 8th pick. So I would say if you're going to get what you need at cornerback and defensive line, I would rather go edge rusher before anything else. I think your first pick today is going to be an edge rusher, or a big giant interior lineman. Kenny Clark is getting old, believe it or not. I'm pretty sure Kenny Clark at the ripe old age of 29 is your oldest player on the team, except for maybe Brandon McManus. I think he may be, because I think he's in his 30s now. But that doesn't. That's
kickers don't count.
Yeah, kickers don't really count in that regard.
They can play a
Love
long
Brandon
time.
McManus, by the way.
Yes.
But Kenny Clark, he's the elder statesman at the ripe old age. He's younger than my son. I think he's younger. Is he younger than Kenny?
About the same age, probably.
Well, he's younger than Steven. We know that.
Yeah. Pretty close to the same age there, I think.
Yeah. So, but anyway, isn't that funny to think about that? And
he's 33. Brandon McManus is 33.
Okay, all right. And Kenny Clark will be 30 this year, probably. So, but anyway, and at that age and at that size, and he's not a healthy 330 pounds. I think he's a big guy that's going to wear out quickly. That's what I think. So Kenny Clark may have 2 good seasons left. So you're going to want somebody, look at DJ Raji. How long did he last? He got a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And he got an interception in the Super Bowl to go up 21-7.
Oh, that guy.
It wasn't in the Super Bowl. It was in the NFC Championship game against the
Bears.
Against the Bears. Yeah, it was Caleb. Who was the Bears passer? Caleb something.
Let's see.
But anyway, there are people who go there. Caleb Smith, man, come on, Smith, or whatever. Caleb started with an H, whatever.
You know what? I want to thank, before I forget, I want to thank Janine Idstein.
Oh, yes. I talked to her yesterday.
Assisting Hands Home Care. She was the one that connected us with Jesus Pereira from the Veterans Assistance Commission. And I believe, I connected her with you yesterday, for an event that they got coming up here. So thank you to Janine for being an awesome resource here within Crowd 815. That was very, very, very nice of you.
I'm going to be DJing the event out there. We'll probably talk more about that here in the near future.
Yeah, they're doing a walk event out in front of Peak Sports Club. So that
Peak
should be
Fitness. Cool. Oh, yeah. So I will not be on the show that Saturday morning because I'll be setting up. But I can be on the show. It's just that setting it up and trying to do it on my phone or whatever.
We'll see how that works. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it works. Hopefully the weather will cooperate. That would be great.
Oh, yeah, because if there's weather issues, if it's raining, I don't know if the event gets canceled, but Tommy can't be out there with his stereo equipment. I mean,
we're not waterproof. That's sorry to say, we're not.
No, but I'll have a canopy. So I'll have a big canopy, but that's not waterproof either. No. And sometimes the moisture in the air will do damage. So we'll play that. We'll just trust that God has a plan for the weather that day. So
all right, we've gone extra long today, Tom. Surprise, surprise. So,
yeah, we have.
Let's, I guess, wrap things up. Remember, everybody, that you change the world when you help one person. So be a blessing to someone today and this week. We'll do our best to be also do the same and meet you back here next week when Camp I Am Me Executive Director Phil Zaleski is our special guest here on the In Crowd 815 podcast. Oh, thanks to Tinker Swiss Cottage Museum and Gardens for hosting our In Crowd 815 event this last week as well. Yeah. A great time, great turnout, and VIP tour of the cottage. And the next month, the end of last Thursday of May, we will be at Marshmallows Hope, and we'll talk about that as we get closer to that as well. So,
all right. Hey, you got your option. I either call you on the phone afterwards, or we can do 2 minutes off the air. I just have a couple things I can share.
Stay on the screen, and we'll talk after this. So,
all right,
everybody, have a great weekend. Bye.
815